Now, the verdict on the Kathua rape case is expected to be delivered today, and that is our top story this hour, as a special court in Pathankot will deliver the verdict in the Kathua rape case, where an 8-year-old girl was brutally raped and murdered. The trial, which was being conducted in isolation, ended on June 3rd, after which Judge Tejvinder Singh announced June 10th as the likely date of judgment, that is today. And security has been beefed up in the court premises as well as in Kathua, where the incident happened, as a precautionary measure. All the accused except for the juvenile are currently at the Gurdaspur jail and will receive a minimum punishment of life imprisonment or possibly a maximum punishment of death penalty if convicted. Now, for more details on this news story and to get a perspective on all the latest, let's quickly go across to our correspondent Eshan Wani, who joins me live from Srinagar. Now, Eshan, this is one case that we are looking at which has always been surrounded by trepidation. This has been a horrific rape case that we are talking about. You must run us through how this entire case has unfolded, from a political slugfest to all those protests that took place. You must talk about how this case unfolded.
Well, it started in January when this nomadic girl went missing in his native village in Kathua, and post which the police launched a manhunt to nab that particular person who may have abducted her, because it was 4 days that since she was missing, and later her decomposed body was found in a forest area. And police then made an intensive searches and basically starting from the investigation, they arrested a minor boy in the Kathua region. He was the son of Sanjay Ram, who is the main accused in this particular case, a former revenue officer who was nabbed police soon after this particular thing. But the interesting part of the entire case is that there were police officers who were involved in this particular case. 2 of the police officers, including an inspector and a sub-inspector, have been charged in this particular case. There are a total of 8 people who have been charged.
Right.
The girl was brutally not only raped, they was kept in the temple. Later on, she was, brutally killed in the forest area. Now, among the 8, 1 has pleaded that he's a minor, but 7 are facing minimum punishment of life imprisonment, maximum death penalty. But police carried out a great investigation in this particular case. There were a lot of fingers pointed out at the police for this particular investigation, that there will be political pressure on them, given the fact that 2 BJP ministers were part of the protest rally, which was, favoring the accused people, Sanjay Ram and his minor son, nephew, 2 police officers, and later on 2 police officers were charged with destroying the evidences, taking a hefty money from the accused so that, they could be not involved in this case. But the fact is that this rape was carried out that shook the entire country, given the fact that the people are really close to their religion, and that is this particular heinous crime was conducted, and that really created an anger. And post which the PDP, BJP did not go well after PDP raised objection over the, being a presence of the 2 BJP leaders, senior BJP leaders, not just a simple way, they're the senior BJP leaders and ministers who were part of that rally, which supported the accused and called for a more in-depth investigation. But this rape, really angered the India in particular, and there were protests across India, and now we are seeing that today the judgment will be delivered at around 11.
Ishan very rightly said that this was one murder case and a rape, that shook the entire conscience of the nation, just like the case that's taken place in Aligarh or even Bhopal yesterday of an 8-year-old girl. You mentioned how it turned into a political slugfest. The charge sheet clearly states that the abduction and the rape and murder of the child was a strategy to instill fear and remove the nomadic community from the area. It's important to talk about how this case had to take a political turn, especially between the ruling alliance partners back then, the PDP and the BJP.
Well, absolutely right. This nomadic community keeps on traveling from Kashmir. They come to Kashmir Valley in the summer season and travel to Jammu in the winter season. There was some sort of anger with this particular person who wanted this particular community to go. He wanted to strike a fair among this particular community, who have been from years and years trying to settle their lives. Not only in Kashmir, they go with their sheep and other cattle to raise them in that particular area in the parts of Jammu region. So the basic idea, and the charge sheet says that in the charge sheet, the police clearly mentions to strike a fair among this particular nomadic community. This tool of rape and brutal murder were used so that they don't come back to the Kathua belt. And this particular particular person is a revenue officer, Sanji Ram, who was the first person who was after the arrest of his son came out, and he handed himself to the crime branch. The investigation was taken by the crime branch. But again, there were a lot of political twists and turns, like some of the leaders in the Kashmir Valley, in the Jammu region, saying that this case should be given to the CBI or to the other investigation agencies, when there were leaders in Kashmir who said that the J&K police is competent enough to deal with such cases, and then there was a trust. Is there a trust deficit with the Jammu and Kashmir police? So all these arguments, plus waving of tricolor in that particular rally that was taken in support of the accused, really did not get any got a lot of attention, and a lot of people across India said that this is not the right way to deal with the case. So after that, that was the first time after this raid that the BJP and PDP had cracks in their alliances. There were other factors also, but this was the main case from where the alliance started falling down. Although this is all from the BJP side was all part of the vote bank politics in the Jammu region, but for PDP it was a matter with which a girl was raped, a brutal rape had taken place.
All right, Ishan, do you think that the transferring of the case from J&K to Pathankot is going to have some sort of a positive impact on the verdict?
Well, to understand that, we have to first see that why was this particular case shifted from Kathua to Pathankot. It was because the lawyers in Kathua protested and they did not let the crime branch to file this particular case. After which the top court, Supreme Court, intervened in this case and asked the trial to be taken to the Pathankot, to a place which is more safer, not only for the people who were appearing in this case, but also for the lawyer, because the lawyer who was appearing for this particular girl had also faced a death threat. And post that, the Supreme Court gave an order that day-to-day trial base should be held in this particular case, which was in camera. And that is why, we're seeing a fast-track movement of this case, that in just few months, we are seeing that in a year or so, we're seeing that this case is heading towards the final argument. Today, the judge has said that he will deliver the verdict, which is a minimum of life imprisonment and maximum of death penalty.
All right, a minimum of life imprisonment and a maximum of death penalties is the kind of quantum of sentence that we are looking at. Last but not the least, Ishan, what is the security situation like in and around Jammu and Kashmir, especially Kathua, taking into consideration that the Bakarwal community is a highly marginalized community there?
Well, we already know that the case was communalized and there were already rifts in Jammu region. So to avoid that, the security apparatus has been briefed up not only in the Kashmir Valley, but also in the Jammu region and around that particular court in Pathankot. Now, it will be interesting to see that, what will be the reaction of the people, not only in the Jammu, but also in the Kashmir Valley, depending on the verdict. But the security has been tightened and the security has been kept on alert in Pathankot, in Jammu, particularly in Kathua region, because this nomadic community has now a lot of fear in going towards Jammu. For them also, there were elaborated security measures after this particular rape happened. But today, the security has been briefed up in Punjab, also in Jammu and in Kashmir Valley too.
All right, so 1.5 years down the line and the family still awaits justice. Let's hope that justice finally prevails for Asfa. And thank you so much, Ishan Vani, for bringing us all the latest.